Hello everyone and welcome back to the World Championships 2017 here in Tokyo. Joining me, Michael Kahanum, to commentate the top 8 round of Duel Links. Tell me, who have we got this round and what are we playing?
This time we have Tutpup using his 3 decks are Seto Kaiba with the beatdown skill, My Valentine with the restart skill, Taya Gardner with dual standby, and he's dueling against dgzo, who's using Seto Kaiba with beatdown, Bandit Keith with restart, and Mako Tsunami with the Mystic Depths ability, which allows him to start with Umi in play.
Super interesting. None of these players are actually playing the Red Ice deck that we saw.
They are not. I don't know if it's by choice or if they were unable to get Red Eye's insight, but they're not. And in fact, dgzo's decks in particular are very interesting. He's using a Nicuria deck, which no other duelist in Duel Links tournament is using, as well as the Mystic Depths Water deck, which no other duelist in Duel Links is using. And they're certainly both very powerful decks because they can amass some big monsters very quickly to get a quick win. But no one else seems to be playing them. So it's obviously done well for him since he made the top cut. And we'll see how it works out for him in this particular round. dgzo's other deck is the Bandit Keith Restart deck using focused around Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, which is one of the cooler cards in Duel Links that players from the original trading card game might remember.
Oh yes, coming in and cleaning up all of your back row in the standby phase. So, if you were one of these competitors in these seats, which deck would you be loading in if you were... let's start with Topple. If you're Topple, which one do you think you're going to... Sorry, Tutpup, which one are you going to roll with?
It's really hard to say, because at this point, you can see your opponent's characters, so you know your opponent's...
They've got their cards face up, right?
Yes, based on the tournament format, you know that dgzo has Seto Kaiba, Bandit Keith, and Mako Tsunami. You might suspect the Mako Tsunami deck is a Mystic Depths Umi deck, or your opponent might be playing Toons with Mako Tsunami to throw you off. So it's really hard to know. I think which deck you choose to start with is a preference based on what you might be most comfortable with. But at this point, it's pretty hard to try to counterpick your opponent based only on the knowledge you have about which characters your opponent
because
is
of
using.
The skills that are pulled together that you can play on multiple heroes. You can just multiple legendary duelists. You can just mess with your opponent essentially by the
and that's actually we actually see that again here. Tutpup is using the My Valentine deck with restart, and in that deck he's using Toons. So instead of using Maximilian Pegasus, who would have a lot cooler commentary when he activates the Toon cards, because in Duel Links, when legendary duelists use their iconic cards, they will usually say a phrase that goes along with it. Whereas if you just activate those cards with a different duelist, it's more standard. It's a more generic statement.
Yeah.
So it's more fun to watch Pegasus use Toons, in my opinion. However, the players might think it might tip off the opponent that Pegasus, maybe he's using Toons. But, it's so easy to kind of throw your opponent off because you could be playing these abilities, restart, for example, with any duelist. Restart, balance, although actually most of the decks here, now that I'm looking at the legendary duelists with their skills, those skills are unique to the legendary duelist. So both players are using Seto Kaiba with beatdown, with Tutpup using a ninja deck. Only Kaiba can learn beatdown. So,
right, okay.
So same on dgzo's side, he's using a Nicuria deck with Seto Kaiba and the beatdown skill. Only Taya knows dual standby, and Tutpup is using that with a deck out deck. And only Mako Tsunami learns Mystic Depths to start with Umi in play. And he's using that with his fish deck, his water deck. So sometimes when you look at the character, you can get an idea of what they're playing, but it's not really that reliable.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. If there's just even a small chance you can throw your opponent off, then making an assumption is always completely unreliable.
Yeah. So at this point, I think the players will just choose whichever deck they're most comfortable with.
You can actually see the cards on the table there to represent who is which characters are left available for each duelist.
Yes, and remember the rules. Once you win with a character, you turn that character face down, and you can no longer use it. If you lose with a character, you can still use any of your remaining characters. Once you win with 2 characters, you win the round. Looks like Tutpup chose to start with the Taya Gardner Duel Standby deck. So Duel Standby lets both players draw an extra card at the start of the duel. And dgzo started out with actually one of my favorite decks, the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys deck. So he starts with Card of the Soul, which is actually a really cool card that transforms your life points into a monster from the soul of your deck. It lets you add a monster to your hand with attack and defense whose sum is equal to your life points.
That's super cool, because
Yes.
Sacred Phoenix exactly 4,000, turn
Exactly.
1, 4,000.
So once you take damage, that card becomes a lot weaker. 'Cause it's a lot harder to hit the numbers to grab the other cards from your deck. You have to be at like exactly 2,000 to grab, for example, Fire King, Avatar Yaksha. And you can't really reliably do that. So it's pretty cool that he's using Card of the Soul. It's pretty standard in that deck.
He's playing 3 full copies of it as well.
Yes, because you always want to draw Secret Phoenix of Nephthys, since that is the heart of the deck. He activates Fire King Island and uses its second effect to special summon a winged beast from his hand, special summoning Sacred Phoenix, and then sets a card to his back row. Tutpup sets 2 and sets a monster. dgzo did thin his deck by using Card of the Soul, but this, I think his deck will actually line up fairly nicely against the Taya Gardner Duel Standby deck. Sergeant Electro is incredible here. He can use its effect to lock down one of Taya's face-down cards. Taya chains a Faint Plan, so face-down monsters cannot be attacked this turn. It's essentially a threatening roar at this point.
Yeah, but that will completely give away what his deck is trying to do at this point.
Yes, I think once you see a Faint Plan, you know this is a deck-out deck.
Yeah, which will probably affect the way that the dgzo will play out the rest of this match.
Absolutely.
But then he was going to know that soon if that
Yes.
attack would have been successful anyway.
Since this is his top cut, they might have actually already played, so they actually might know each other's decks. So Taya uses Cup of Ace. Taya controlled by Tutpup, and gets heads, draws 2 cards.
That's pretty huge. I mean, even the drawback of making your opponent draw 2 is not as bad in this when you can use that as a faster way to deck your opponent.
Exactly. So kind of like heads I win, tails you lose.
Yeah, in this particular situation, yeah. He's got so many cards that let him get through the turn without actually having to take the damage, for example, a Faint Plan, as you were saying before,
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, the goal for Tutpup is to just stay alive. If he can stay alive, eventually his opponent will run out of cards. So, looks like dgzo summoned Yaksha. He attacks with it, and then Curse of Anubis activates, switching everything to defense position, and reducing its defense points to 0 for the turn. Not that that's relevant, since the defense points shoot right back up in the end phase. Once again, Tutpup's on the defensive, sets another monster in a back row.
He's got one of his cards locked by his Sergeant Electro, and this will be the second card locked down, assuming there's no chain.
Looks like Tutpup might be contemplating it.
He's got no way of getting the Sergeant Electro off the field.
So he changed the assault on GHQ. The reason he was considering it is because you have to tribute a monster to activate it, or it might be to resolve it. But either way, you lose a monster by using it. It sends the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. Since he sent Warm Worm to the graveyard, Warm Worm's effect sends another 3 cards from the top of the deck to the graveyard. I think his reluctance was that Warm Worm would have absorbed an attack, and now it's no longer on the field to do that.
What's actually super interesting by him choosing Tutpup to choose the deck-out deck to start with is it gives him full information of his opponent's deck. So, I mean, that's only bad if his opponent wins and then can't use his deck again. But even if he loses this, he now has the full information because he's going through so many of his opponent's cards. He can just take a look at his opponent's graveyard and then get a good feel of what the deck is when he wants to play against again.
Which is relevant if he wins. Oh, wow.
Ah, he temporarily takes the Sergeant Electro, destroys it, sends another 2 cards.
That's the effect of Jowls of Dark Demise. Takes control of an opponent's monster until the end phase. Assault on GHQ lets him then tribute that monster, freeing up his back row that was otherwise pinned down. I believe Tutpup set Hero Shadow Scout, which would...
It forces your opponent to draw 3 cards, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's draw, not pick up. So I think if he attacks it, he loses.
Yeah, but there's no way he's not attacking
Nope.
here. He's hoping he's going to hit a Warm Worm, and it's not going to be.
If he passes, he loses too. So Yaksha attacks. Hero Shadow Scout's effect activates, and Bandit Keith,
can't draw.
Controlled by dgzo, is forced to draw.
You can see how nervous Tutpup was there. You can see he just like let out this huge sigh of relief when the opponent dgzo. It's difficult to say for some reason. When he made that attack, and he's like, oh, okay, good, that's good.
So dgzo no longer needs to worry about the, this particular dual standby deck out deck. Technically, Tutpup could be using a deck out deck without that ability. It would be significantly weaker since you start with 1 less card. So it's very likely, and as we know by seeing the lists, Tutpup no longer has a deck out deck to use. He has to retire the one he just won with. Yeah,
so he gets the cheese deck out of the way. But Tutpup does have some pretty strong options to work with here. We've got Toons and Ninjas.
Yeah. So again, it looks like dgzo decided to stick with the deck that he used before. We saw this in our round, I guess it was round 2 Duel Links feature match, where the player, after losing, decided to continue using his same deck. Not that he has to, but he chose to do so.
That backfired pretty horribly for the player in that situation.
Did not pay off well. So Bandit Keith is using the Restart ability, which lets him send his hand back to his deck and draw a different one.
And that's pretty good, because he drew the Card of Soul, right? Is that the name?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, you can only activate 1 card of the Soul per turn, so he can only use 1 of them.
So drawing the 2 was pretty bad. But he also has a Yakusha as well.
Yeah.
And Fire King Island. Wow, this is a very strong start.
That is a strong start. So he activates Card of the Soul to pull Sacred Phoenix from his deck.
Where does he go from here?
That's a great question. I'd probably go with Fire King Island, Special Summon Sacred Phoenix, Summon Yaksha, and set Enemy Controller.
And then you get your attacks in as well.
And he declines to do that. Instead, he's going to destroy the Sacred Phoenix from his hand with Fire King Island's effect, the first effect rather than the second, add a Yaksha to his hand, and that will assure that the Sacred Phoenix comes back on the next standby phase. So instead, he's going to summon the Yaksha and attack.
Windstorm for Takwa, going to switch his opponent's monster to defense mode. And I believe the set card is a White Ninja, which sends a defense mode monster to the graveyard, right?
That's correct. So he can flip summon it to get rid of that monster. Wow, then if he normal summons the Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, that would be 3,300 points of damage. Not bad. The problem for dgzo using Bandit Keith here is that the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys will come back in the next standby phase, destroy Fire King Island, and then its drawback effect will trigger destroying the Sacred Phoenix.
So he needs to really prepare himself for this next turn then, because he's going to be within defeat range.
That's correct. Now, if dgzo could have used that second Card of the Soul, which he couldn't because once per turn, he would have had a second Sacred Phoenix, which he would have been able to destroy with Yaksha's effect. That would have allowed the Phoenix to come back, destroy Fire King Island, clear the field, and then bring a second Phoenix back. He would be in much better shape.
Okay, he chose to get rid of his own Fire King Island so we could dodge that particular scenario you were talking about. It was Yakusha.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, so that's a very good play. It looks like Tutpup decided to set I believe he set another White Ninja instead of pressing the damage with the Ninja Grandmaster. So he's definitely playing it more cautiously.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys is back. Yaksha's on the field to join it after being normal summoned. And now it looks like dgzo is definitely in the driver's seat. Tutpup didn't really have a great opportunity to use his ninjutsu art of transformation with the constant threat of Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys.
Yeah, he's got every chance to try it here.
He's going to set it. He'll try. He'll summon the Ninja Grandmaster. Sergeant Electro off the top for dgzo. He's going to summon it. He'll try to pin down the ninjutsu art of transformation, but I suspect it will be chained to summon Red Dragon Ninja from the deck.
What does Red Dragon Ninja do for the players who?
It is going to. It gets to spin a a set card to either the top of the deck. I believe it's the top of the deck or the bottom of the deck. Unfortunately, it's not strong enough to make a difference here. And actually, as a matter of fact, it's targeted and taking control of. So 48, 58, 6,600 points of direct damage are coming in at Tutpup, and that is going to end the duel.
And there we go. We're going to see the Fire King deck getting removed from the remaining lineup.
This is a little interesting here because dgzo actually wanted to make that play for a couple of reasons. One, he doesn't lose the enemy controller, but also he has attacks from two 2,400 attackers. And Sphere Karibo is a huge card in this format in Duel Links. So if you're going to go for broke and try to win, you want to do it so that if your opponent has a Sphere Karibo, it either doesn't stop you, it doesn't stop you from winning, or at least doesn't leave you in a critically terrible position because you were disrupted.
I mean, like, even if your opponent has a 2 Sphere Karibos, then they've got no cards in hand. And it's like, how do you answer
that's true.
How do they answer your
Well, he would get the ninja back.
Right, okay.
If he could have stopped the Phoenix, then the Phoenix would be in defense mode. The ninja could have destroyed it. So it wasn't relevant there, but it's something to watch for, to be mindful that your opponent might have Sphere Karibo.
Or 2.
Or 2, as the case currently is with Tutpup. So Tutpup lost, but decides to continue using his ninja deck. dgzo looks like he switched into the Mako Tsunami water deck that I talked about earlier. He summons Lost Blue Breaker, boosted by Umi, and sets 2 cards to the back row.
That's a very strong start. He's also got the double mirror wall to start with, so he's got the ability to just make any attack completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And then also have the Lost Blue Breaker with the option of taking out spell and traps.
Yep, but Tutpup's not falling for it. He declines to attack with his ninja, realizing it is probably not destined to actually destroy the Lost Blue Breaker in battle.
Yeah, you don't really want to, especially when he can use his Sphere Karibo and then get over his opponent's monster, but his opponent's monster is never going to attack into him. So Tutpup can just wait till he gets a few more cards. He's in a pretty safe position with his 2 Sphere Karibos and his ninjutsu transformation art.
Absolutely. Enemy controller off the top for Tutpup. Now he attacks.
And yeah, changes the Lost Blue Breaker to defense mode. And then that will guarantee that a mirror wall will not be interfering with this attack.
Yes. I'm not sure what dgzo's other face down cards are. He might have a card of his own to switch the battle position of the ninja.
I mean, is this technically a bad attack because of that precise reason here, the enemy controller or his opponent playing Sphere Karibo?
Maybe. I mean, the enemy controller, basically they just created enemy controllers here. I would agree, it definitely puts dgzo in the driver's seat because now his Lost Blue Breaker can apply the pressure to the ninja.
Transformation.
Yeah, he has the transformation, so actually even if things go horribly wrong, he can always transform into the red ninja.
Yeah, and then take out one of those back rows as well.
Yeah, and he can still battle.
Right.
So that was actually really good. So he's still in the battle phase. I forgot he had that. So he banishes a ninja from his graveyard to activate its effect. And then targets the mirror wall, but it's chained.
Do you still attack?
Oh, no, it's not chained.
It's just I don't think you can chain it, right? I would read the Japanese text, but there's a problem.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you're right. It said it can't be chained. It was just revealed by the game. Super Rush Headlong. That was a really good card there. that allowed him to destroy the ninja with his Lost Blue Breaker, and making it destroy anything of the chosen attribute.
Ah, okay.
Lost Blue Breaker attacks directly.
Attack is successful, and that is 1,600 points of damage coming in on Tutpup.
Tutpup draws a monster and sets it. You're right. With Red Dragon Ninja, your opponent cannot chain the targeted card, so the game just reveals it.
Ah.
And actually, part of the effect is reveal that set card, then return it to either the top or the bottom.
Which card was just summoned there?
That is the beautiful Beautiful Princess. It's actually a Mako level up card, so you can only get one copy. When it's summoned, you can banish it from the duel to search for any fish in your deck and summon it. In this deck that dgzo is playing, he can get either Hammer Shark or Deep Sweeper.
Right, and Deep Sweeper is which card again?
I think it's that you contribute it to destroy a spell or trap card.
Right, okay, from Generation Force, I believe, or around that area.
That I don't know.
I guess one of the fun things with Duel Links is it's kind of this strange imaginary format where you get, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You get some of these like super old cards, but they're kind of mixed with things that were like 10 years apart.
Yeah.
And it just somehow made it into this like kind of weird format.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Deep Sweeper's on the field now. Lost Blue Breaker attacks. And then Windstorm of Ataqua changes the battle position of all of dgzo's monsters.
Oh, this is a super strong turn for Tutpup, right? Because he flips up his White Ninja, takes out one of the monsters.
Likely the Deep Sweeper, since it has the higher defense points. Ooh, he top decks the Red Dragon Ninja.
You contribute that and then banish the ninja to take out a back row.
Yeah.
And then get the attack in.
That's really good. Now looks like dgzo has no hand.
Yeah, so he's going to be depending on a top deck. But then he has two back row, and one of them is definitely a Mirror Wall. Not particularly helpful when the Red Dragon Ninja attacks and
that's right.
Destroys your monster anyway. And then if you try and attack over the Red Dragon Ninja, one of those two Sphere Creepos is going to be coming down. And since Tutpup hasn't been setting any spell or traps or playing monsters, he doesn't attack.
That's interesting. He doesn't attack and he doesn't tribute summon.
Okay, I wonder what he was worried about.
Oh, wait, is Red Dragon Ninja... What level is Red Dragon Ninja?
It's level 6.
He could have. Spear Karibo switches the battle position.
Double surf,
Second Spear Karibo switches the battle position. Maybe I missed something. Maybe he wasn't able to tribute summon for some reason.
Oh, maybe Red Dragon Ninja can only be summoned from a ninjutsu art. Nope. Never mind, he just does it now. I wonder why he didn't do it before.
Unless did he activate the ninjutsu art on the previous turn?
No.
I don't know. Either way, here it is now. He's summoning it. He's going to use its effect. I believe he targeted the enemy controller, which he now gets to decide what he wants to do with it.
Here's the problem, though. If he attacks into his opponent's Lost Blue Breaker and then dgzo flips up the Mirror Wall, he can lower the attack of the Red Dragon Ninja and then attack over it back. But he's going to choose not to do that. dgzo is going to hold on. And there's Starboy. Going to see a cool version of that in the very near future with a mustache.
Yeah. Starboy all grown up.
He's a Mr. Starboy now, isn't he?
Lost Blue Breaker attacks. Curse of Anubis, which is all of Mako's monsters, to defense position. Changes their stats to 0 for the turn. Defense points to 0.
And then a...
Oh, I actually forgot Starboy weakens fire monsters.
Yeah, that was quite relevant there. Just putting him just within Lost Blue Breaker range.
Yeah. So, Ninja Grandmaster Suzuki attacks, destroys Lost Blue Breaker.
Yeah, so actually being patient really paying off for Tutpup there,
Yeah.
making the best of these exchanges.
For sure. Yeah, and the power of Red Dragon Ninja here was huge.
Yeah.
The card put in a lot of work in this duel. So I think Tutpup's going to summon the final ninja to his field. Beatdown ability.
Do you switch the other ninja, which ninja is that, sorry, Suzuki?
Everything's in attack position, and now everything gets 300 attack points thanks to the beatdown skill.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd switch one to defense mode in case your opponent has the Windstorm for Tekla.
That would be interesting, but I don't think it's particularly relevant whether if you have 2 monsters in defense on your opponent's turn or all 3. It doesn't really matter. So he gets a dgzo below the life point range where he can pay for Mirror Force. No, not Mirror Force, Mirror Wall. Mirror Force would be
Mirror Force would be
really good
great.
in Duel Links. Mirror Wall, but dgzo does survive the turn. So here he's going to need a really good top deck here. I don't know if there is a top deck actually that gets him out of it.
Yeah, taking a look at his deck list, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't know his face down card.
Oh, he's going to go with the Hammer Shark. I guess he can pretend that his face down card is relevant here again if it's a second Mirror
Wall. You
Wall.
can pretend it's Magical Arm Shield.
Oh, this is true.
Or Mirror Wall. Beatdown ability, all monsters gain 300 attack points again.
Yeah, and if that is Mirror Wall, yeah.
It is a Mirror Wall, so that's actually really good. And that's smart for Tutpup to attack with his Grandmaster first, because that's less valuable than the Red Dragon Ninja, whose attack points are inherently higher than the Hammer Shark.
Yeah, and there's this way he guarantees he holds onto his ninja, and now if he sets the Yomi ship, the white ninja, I'm trying to remember the flip effect. Sorry, these cards
Destroys
are
any, I think it destroys
face
any
up defense.
I think it's any defense position monster, but let me double check that.
White ninja. Because that would be able to take out the Yomi ship without actually having to run into it. But if he sets the Yomi ship, he's more than likely going to be declaring the attack with the Hammerhead Shark. And then the question is, will the white ninja then take out the Yomi ship, which will let Tutpup need just one monster to be progressing into the top 4.
So he sets the Yomi ship.
Ah, he sets both.
Oh, he switches to defense position.
Okay, I think that means Tutpup can take this down, right? Yeah, he's just drew the extra ninja.
If that's a white ninja down, he'll just flip summon it, and that'll be it. And he normal summons a white ninja too, just for safe measure. White ninja's probably going to destroy the Yomi ship.
Yeah, there's no reason not to take out the face down one.
Yeah.
And there's a beat down as well for good measure.
Yeah.
Kaiba coming in, and yeah, dgzo just throwing his hand out like, yep, you got me.
Seto Kaiba is not happy unless he utterly crushes his opponent. It's not enough to just win.
I actually like some of the artwork some of the fans had done. He's like Kaiba slamming his hands on the table, shouting at a small girl, like, you're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck. Tutpup from Sweden.
I think my favorite is in Duel Links when you use Kaiba to beat Joey Wheeler. He says, defeating Joey Wheeler is no cause for celebration.
It's even better if you beat Kaiba with Joey. And he's like, I lost to Wheeler. There's no way this can be happening.
I love the interactions between the legendary duelists in Duel Links.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. That was a very, very well-played game by Tutpup. Just taking his time, picking away his opponent's back row, making the reads, and very skillfully setting himself up into a position where he has the white ninja for game, essentially.
Yeah, no, those white ninjas were really effective in that duel.
I mean, is there anything else that that could have been played if dgzo decided to go with a different deck? Would that have made any sense? Well, he used his Fire King deck, so the other option was Notorious, which we didn't see actually come out.
Yeah, we didn't see that, and we didn't see Tutpup's Toon deck used by My Valentine with Restart.
I've been walking around actually seeing the Toon deck, and every time I've seen somebody playing it, they've been on the losing end. Walking around the tournament. I don't know if that's just because that's just what I'm seeing, or if that's actually what's happening.
I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, Toon Kingdom is an incredibly strong card. There's no question about that. Its effect is powerful even by Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG standards.
Yeah, I mean the Toon cards are still very much loved by the players.
That too. People just like Toons, and it's always used with the Restart ability. It's just kind of tough because the deck really hinges on the success of Toon Kingdom in that match. And if you can't protect it or you can't get it,
you're doing a whole bunch of nothing.
You really can't do anything. You fall apart. So I don't know. It's a risky choice, but it's also an interesting deck because once you get Toon Kingdom on the field with a Toon monster that you can use your Kingdom to protect, it's pretty hard to take down.
Yeah, then you just set yourself up for a couple of direct attacks. And because in this game, taking just 2 direct attacks is probably game in most situations. If you put your opponent on a really tight clock.
Oh, actually, Tutpup's Toon deck actually has something really cool I've never seen before that I think is worth mentioning. Unfortunately, we didn't see it since that was the one deck he declined to use. But he's using a Toon deck with Toon Rollback and Toon Dark Magician Girl. And since Toon Dark Magician Girl can actually attack the turn she summoned and attack directly the turn she summoned, and Toon Rollback lets
Double
her
attack
twice.
You just, one-shot your opponent.
Yes, Toon Dark Magician Girl can actually beat your opponent for 4,000 damage in 1 turn, which is all you get in Duel Links.
Yeah, that's incredible stuff there. Tutpup, very well played, very well deserved, moving into the top 4 of the Duel Links tournament. That was the top 8.
That was the top 8, okay.
Yeah, so we're now going to be going into the top 4, and where Tutpup will get to see if he's good enough to go into the finals.
But we won't see that until tomorrow.
Yes, we've got to give some of these duelists a break. They've been playing for a long time. We have one more match today that we will be streaming, and that will be in around 10 minutes' time. The stream will start, and the match will begin in about 15 minutes. So please don't go too far. We're going to be right back with more World Championship 2017 coverage.
Stay tuned.